Hello, this is Catherine at I Know I Need to Stop Talking. Hello, my loves, how are we all? It's nearly Christmas, isn't it? I'm terribly excited about Christmas this year, which perhaps I shouldn't be because obviously the entire year has been an utter fucking shit show. But I'm forever the optimist and I just think, I feel like it would be a really nice treat for us all this year if it snowed. I do appreciate that if you're listening to this and you are a key worker or work for our emergency services or just don't like snow, you're probably thinking, please fuck off. But I love snow. I love snow. So I think if whoever's in charge of this kind of thing could arrange for a bit of snow to come down on Christmas Day, not too much, not so much that it's going to cause traffic chaos, because let's be honest, in Britain, we can't cope with more than a couple of snowflakes, but just enough for it to look beautiful and twinkly and Christmassy. I think that would be nice. It feels like it would be fair. And that's how I think the weather should work like that. We've had a really hard year. We should have snow. That should be it. There should be kind of some kind of government rule around snow. But given their inability to create any other set of consistent rules that actually make sense, I'm not holding out a huge amount of hope. Anyway, this is an exciting week because I am not recording this podcast from my dining room table. I know, right? I know. What else can 2020 bring? It's chaos. It's fucking chaos. No, I'm sitting in the room where the dining room table was, but the weekly game of what kind of shit's on Catherine's table this week? Well, breaking news, listeners, there's no shit on my dining room table, literal or otherwise. My dining room table, to be honest, it looks like it belongs to another family. It doesn't look like my dining room table at all. It's totally empty. It's really weird. But we've had a little bit of a move around. We've lived in this house for just over 5 years now. And when we bought it, we had the garage converted. And for a long time, the garage conversion was our dining room. But as anybody who's ever had a garage conversion as a dining room will probably know, garages are ideal for dining rooms, other than the fact there is literally fuck all space to be able to get out of your chair and up again. I mean, seriously, if you've got a few people around for dinner, it's like queuing for a public toilet. You're like, I need to get up, can I get, but you're finishing a mouthful, I'm just going to stand here and queue, this is nice and awkward. So we were lucky to have an alternative space that we could move the dining room table into, so it's gone in there. It was a bit of a drama. I'm not going to lie, because our dining room table is not just any dining room table. I think when I tell you this, I'm going to sound either a bit posh or a bit of a dick, and I can promise you I'm neither of those things, at least, well, sometimes I am a bit of a dick, let's be honest. But our dining room table is not just a dining room table. When we had the garage conversion done, and Mr. I Know I Need to Stop Talking said to me, I found the perfect dining room table. And I said, wonderful. And he showed me a picture of it. And I was like, that looks really nice. And he's like, great, so I'll get it. And you know when you think there must be a catch. But I was like, yeah, darling, yes, go for it. Lovely table. And he then revealed to me the catch. The dining room table is not just any dining room table. It's a dining room table that turns into a pool table. I have to say, I've gone a bit of a 180 on this. So I started thinking this was the worst idea ever. I don't know why. I think I was clearly a very angry person on that particular day. I started thinking this was a terrible thing. And you know what? It's fucking genius. Mr. I Know I Need to Stop Talking is inspired on his choice of furniture. It is absolutely brilliant. It's got 2 pieces of wood on the top and you take them off and hey presto, it's a pool table. It's like magic. And I think when we first got it and it arrived and it was amazing and very exciting, I think I harboured, because I quite often have I harbour these thoughts in my mind that now, you know, I've got this pool table and now I'm going to turn into a world champion pool player. Pretty much every time. It was like a few years ago, Beth had an ice skating party. I convinced myself, despite having never ice skated, that I was going to walk out onto the ice and I was going to be like Torville and fucking Dean, combined in one person. Such was going to be the level of my ice skating skills. Instead, I looked like a constipated octopus as I staggered around the ice. And it was, in fact, there was an elderly Chinese man who was skating very capably in front of me, and he came over. He must have been like 90 and took pity on the allegedly young, fit, clearly incapable girl and said, would you like some help, dear? And I said, yes, please help me get to the side. I don't like this very much at all. But I convinced myself that I would be brilliant at pool. No, I am fucking dreadful at pool. it's not the sort of thing that people really are dreadful at, is it? I mean, how many people do you know who can't hit a pool ball with a pool cue? Well, me, I am that person. I am staggeringly uncoordinated in so many areas of my life. So yeah, pool is just one of those areas. And Beth, who's a bit of a pool shark, to be honest, yeah, she can beat me easily. She can beat me easily when it comes to playing pool. So hence the drama over moving the table, because it's not just, you can't just pick it up and move it. It had to have special men come to move it in a special kind of way. And I missed this sadly because I was working, but Mr. I Know I Need to Stop Talking said it was the most incredible thing. They came in and like a little army of ants or something. I mean, I don't know why I've said an army of ants. When have you ever seen ants reassemble a pool table? But you know what I mean? The way that they like just kind of like swarm all over it and take bits off it, and they basically took it all apart and then took it into another room and then rebuilt it again. And I swear to God, they were done in about 7 minutes. It was amazing. It's like they were doing some kind of speed trial. There's an idea for a TV programme, which, let's face it, if we're still in lockdown next year, this is probably the kind of light entertainment we can look forward to. People dismantle furniture and put it back together again. It'll be a hit. You heard it here first. BBC, ITV, Channel 4, you can come to me. I have all your television programme ideas. So the table has moved. The table has gone out to the back of the house, and therefore I am now sat in what was the dining room. Well, no, what was the garage? Then was a dining room. Now is kind of a, I don't really know what this room is. It's just kind of it's a room with a sofa in it. I'm waiting for a desk to go in here. I'm very excited. I've never had my own desk, not since I lived back at home. And my parents for Christmas bought me a cabin bed. Oh, dear God, the greatest excitement of my life. I shit you not. Although it was preceded by crashing disappointment when we got to the final presents. I assume most people are like me and leave their parents' presents at Christmas to open last, but everybody does Christmas differently, so maybe that's not true. But anyway, this was this big moment, and I remember my sister, I can't remember what she had, but it was something like a big fluffy toy dog and loads of arts and crafts materials. Always used to get a little bit of present envy at Christmas with my sister, in the same way that I get food envy now with basically anybody. And I remember looking at her present going, oh, that's amazing, but I'm sure my present will be just as amazing. And then my dad handed me this present, and it was quite heavy and quite jangly. And I think I probably thought it was like gold doubloons, despite the fact I've never seen a gold doubloon in my life. And to be honest, I don't know what a gold doubloon is, but it feels like a gold doubloon feels like it would be heavy and jangly. Oh my God, I've lost it, haven't I? Anyway, I held my present of what I thought might be gold doubloons and thought, brilliant, this is going to be at least as good as my sister's big stuffed toy dog and all her lovely arts and crafts. And then I opened it, and it was a big pile of screws. Yeah. If you can imagine the opposite of mass excitement, I think that was me on that Christmas day. For about 30 seconds, until my parents, who probably were having a great laugh at the joke, because now I'm a parent, I absolutely would have done that, took me by the hand and took me upstairs and showed me all the matching bits to go with the screws. And it was my very own cabin bed, and it was amazing. Oh, the excitement. Christmas presents are just not quite the same when you're adults, are they? And to be honest, I still now, if somebody bought me a cabin bed for Christmas, I think I'd still feel that level of excitement. Anyway, where was I going with this? Goodness me, there was a point to all of this once upon a time. A desk, yes. I'm waiting for a desk to go in this new room that doesn't really have a name at the moment. But while I wait for my desk, which I've bought from a little independent seller, and I'm very excited about this, more on small businesses later. I'm very much championing small business this weekend. But while I wait for that, I have propped my podcasting mic up on the windowsill. And so I'm kind of crouched over this microphone, looking a little bit like a slightly overweight, demented elf, I imagine. Maybe. That's a lovely mental image, isn't it? And I'm also recording this staring straight out the window into my street, which fortunately is a very quiet street. But if anybody walks past, because it's still just light out there, they are going to think I've fucking lost the plot, aren't they? And maybe, based on the start to this podcast, maybe they would be right. Maybe they would be right. So yeah, so that's been the great excitement this week. But as I say, regardless of the fact that we've had this pool table for a number of years now, I just can't play. I'm just spectacularly uncoordinated. It's a gift that both Jamie and I have. We both have incredible skills of complete uncoordination whatsoever. We have some double doors which go into our living room, and usually one of those doors is shut. every time Jamie or I walk out of that door, and as I say, the other door is always shut. Every time we walk in or out of that door, without fail, we will slam into the side of the door. It's like a gift, isn't it? A really shit gift that comes with bruises all over your arms. That's the gift we have. It became probably most of a challenge, my lack of coordination, when I was at drama school. I spent 3 years at drama school after I finished doing my A-levels. Brilliant 3 years at drama school, and while I decided not to go into the acting profession, I got so much of that out of those 3 years, made some amazing friends. But as you can probably imagine, a lack of coordination isn't ideal when you're planning for a career on the stage, particularly if you're like me and you are actually training in musical theatre. Yes, that's musical theatre, where they expect you to act and sing and dance all at once. Yeah, it's safe to say elements of that came challenging to me, and probably there's no better example than, what was I thinking? Musical theatre. So I'm not a dancer, in line with my lack of coordination. I really can't fucking dance. And I know sometimes people say, oh, I really can't dance, and then they reveal that they're like training with the Royal Ballet. I really can't fucking dance. But for some unknown reason, probably, if I'm honest, because they wanted the crack, wanted a bit of a laugh, my teachers at the end of my second year, so my end of second year show, we were doing the musical Cabaret, which some of you may know. It stars, that lady with dark hair. God, I'm so bad with celebrities. I'm so bad with names and faces generally. There was a lady in it. She had a head and a face. Yes, her. Liza Minnelli. There we go. Liza Minnelli. It was in Cabaret. And it's all set around the Kit Kat Club, and it's all very sleazy. But importantly, within this musical, in the Kit Kat Club, there are the Kit Kat dancers, the Kit Kat girls. And if you are one of the Kit Kat girls, you are supposed to be lithe and coordinated and able to dance, and I am so none of those things. But my teachers, like I say, I think probably having a bit of a laugh when we're going to cast Catherine as a Kit Kat girl. Oh my goodness me, I drank a lot of cheap nasty paint stripper white wine that night, I can assure you. But anyway, I was casting this show, and it was a blast. It was fantastic. Despite my fears, actually, I hadn't killed anybody, and that was probably where my expectations were going into this show. How bad is my coordination? Will I kill someone through my dancing? No, good. Okay, then it is a great success. So I worked my arse off, really worked my arse off. It's the only time in my life I've been able to eat whatever I wanted to eat and not gain weight. Good times. But my crashing lack of coordination came to its fore as we headed into sort of the final week of rehearsals just before the show. And anyone who's ever been involved with productions knows that by that stage, it's typically quite fraught. There's lots of tears, there's lots of emotion, and there is a real pressure, particularly when you're at drama school and you know how lucky you are to be there, and they really push you because they want to train you to be the best. There is real pressure not to fuck up. Yeah, I fell off the stage. I know. How does that even happen? That's like the kind of thing that happens in films or books. No, I fell off the stage. I was finishing the very, very demanding kick line, which I think from memory opened the start of Act 2. I mean, literally, it was like hell on sticks, particularly if you were dancing that dance whilst hungover, which we were at drama school, we were students. We were hungover 24/7. And we got to the end, and I think with sheer relief, my legs were wobbling. I thought I was about to puke through my eyeballs, standard. And I just walked to the edge of the stage and thought that I was going to take a step down onto the step to exit the stage, and instead I just fell off the stage. Thankfully unhurt, other than my pride. And that in itself was bad enough. But then the next day we were back in the studio doing some final dance rehearsals in our costumes. Now, as if it's not bad enough that I'm in a show where I have to dance the entire way through, I also find myself in this show basically wearing little more than my underwear. And they had basically the costumes as befitted the style that the girls would have worn in the clubs those days. I was basically wearing hot pants and a basque. Yeah. And in fact, it was quite early on when myself and Mr. I Know I Need to Stop Talking had got together, and he came to see one of the performances and sat next to my mum. My mum is a lovely, lovely lady, and she's very proper. She's very posh, she's very proper. And according to Mr. I Know I Need to Stop Talking to, in the opening number, he was sat next to my mum, and I finished the opening number kind of like with my sort of like head down towards the floor, singing between my own legs, wearing a hot pants and basques. Hope you're enjoying your dinner there. And my mum apparently turned to Mr. I Know I Need to Start Talking and said to him, "Darling, are you all right with this?" Which I just love. God love my mum. God love my mum. So yeah, that was a joy. But in this final rehearsal in the studio, and I'm not easily embarrassed, but I think back to this and I slightly want to fall through the floor. We were in the studio, we were going through this dance number, we'd been working all day, we were knackered, and our director, she was really pushing us. When I say pushing us, I basically mean shouting at us to get it right. And so we're going along and we're in full costume. It's the first time I've worn this basque. I'm a reasonably well-endowed lady, and basques and me, you know, there's an engineering challenge, right, to make everything fit in the right place, but I managed it quite effectively, I think. And we're doing this kick climb, which is effectively like the can on steroids, and bouncing up and down, doing this dance and everything. Well, you know that where this is going, right? My tits literally break free over the top of my basque, and my terrifying director lady screams at me, "Keep going, Catherine, keep going!" So I had no option. I couldn't tuck the back in. I had my arms around the necks of two other girls as we were dancing in a line. I had to finish the number dancing and trying to avoid blacking my own eye with my nipples bouncing freely up into my face. We have never laughed so hard in our lives. It was a wonderful, glorious, thank fuck it didn't happen on stage moment, which just, I think, pays tribute to my sheer lack of coordination all round. I also, on the subject of lack of coordination, so I can't dance. I also can't park my car at all. And I've been driving for, I don't know how many years now, but it's a long time. I basically fulfill every stereotype about female drivers ever when it comes to parking. I am just inept, utterly inept. And perhaps the most legendary example of my ineptness was years ago. I was working in a particular office which had parking right outside the office. And I got to work very, very early one morning. And at that time, I was driving a Vauxhall Omega. I mention this because if you've ever seen a Vauxhall Omega, possibly not, it's like, think of the most uncool car you can have and multiply it by about 15, and that's probably a Vauxhall Omega. It has a very, very long front bit at the front. I literally don't what those bits, what's it called at the front of the car? You have a front sticky out. It's not the boot. It's the bonnet. The front bit. Fuck's sake, what's wrong with me? Anyway, the front bit bonnet thing is very long on a Vauxhall Omega. It sticks out a lot. So it's quite hard, even when you're going front first into a space, to see quite where the front of the car is. So, very early, driving into work, get to the office, still a little bit dark. I had my tunes on, I was singing loudly, I had not a care in the world. And I just pulled into the car park and wildly overshot my parking space. And basically ended up crashing into the side of my own office. Hashtag epic fail. But it was all right. I wasn't hurt. I got out. The car wasn't too hurt. Looked at the side of the office. It was a bit bashed, but I thought it was probably going to be okay. And I was like, it's fine. It's cool. We're all good. It's really early. So the saving grace is nobody would have seen it. Got out of the car, locked the car, walked into the office, walked down towards my office, past my boss's open door, and looked at him sitting there absolutely killing himself laughing because he'd seen everything that had happened. And obviously proceeded to tell everybody because, well, you would, wouldn't you, in that situation? So yeah, coordination, not my strong point. And you know, I've passed that gift down to my son, which I'm really proud of. Jamie is equally uncoordinated. The moment in the moment at the start of the year in year 7 when I got a phone call from school and they said, Jamie's hurt himself, you have to come. And as you always do as a parent, your heart kind of goes in your mouth. You're like, oh my goodness, adrenaline's pumping. Is he okay? Is he okay? He's fine, but he's quite badly hurt his knee, so you need to come and get him. We think he might need to go to hospital. Okay, fine. Get in the car, drive to school. Obviously, you're thinking, oh my goodness, my boy, my baby, is he okay? Is he okay? Get there, arrive at reception, and they go to get Jamie, and he slopes out, looking at me a bit sheepishly. And his trouser leg is literally all ripped through. And I'm like, my boy, what's happened? What's happened? He's like, oh yeah, I was messing about with my mates and I fell over in the playground. And I had a look. He'd grazed his knee quite badly. He did have to go to hospital. He needed to have a load of grit picked out of it. but he'd grazed his fucking knee. I said, really, Jamie? By the time you're 12, I wasn't expecting I was going to have to still come and take you to the doctors because you'd grazed your fucking knee. But he is his mother's son in so many ways. We went for another walk this morning, Jamie and I. He's such a good walking companion. He is brilliant. We can walk for miles, and as long as I don't try and have any say in the topic of conversation whatsoever, he'll walk without complaint. We did 7 miles this morning, and I don't think there's a celebrity YouTuber I now haven't fucking heard about. I could write a fucking dissertation on celebrity YouTubers. I could probably give you a breakdown of KSI's annual earnings, strategy for his platform, different awards that he's won. I mean, Jamie's like an expert. It's like his mastermind subject. I fear it might be becoming my mastermind subject too, which is not quite what I was hoping for. But yeah, he's a wonderful, wonderful walking companion. He is just great company. By contrast, Beth, whenever I even vaguely look at her and suggest that perhaps we might like to leave the house, because of course there's no football at the minute, looks at me in utter disdain, like I've taken leave of my senses, and goes back to chatting to all of her friends on every electronic device going, because she is 10 going on about 18. So that's nice. I did manage to get her out earlier because her coaches through one of her football teams, and God love everybody who coaches grassroots football. Honestly, I can't thank you enough for the unpaid work you do for the next generation of hopefully football stars. But one of her coaches has been sending through some little drills for her to do while football is off, which is brilliant. So I said to her, right, come on, we're going to go down the park and we're going to record these drills for your football. She was wearing a dressing gown at the time. I said, I think you need to go and get changed. To be honest, I'm not sure why I bothered. She returned downstairs wearing the most batshit outfit you've ever seen. Football shorts, fine, okay, good so far. A Hawaiian t-shirt, okay. A leather jacket with studs and some Santa socks. And I said to her, you do know I've got a video this to send it to your coach? She's like, yeah, and I'm wearing my football boots. And she was, yeah, so she cut quite a sight. She gives no fucks. I have huge admiration for her. But we walked down the park, and the topic of conversation, the prime topic of conversation, was how early are we allowed to put up our Christmas tree this year? And to be really clear, I've seen lots of people putting up their Christmas tree and Christmas decorations early, and I think good for you. Usually I'd be one of those pearl clutching women going, before the 1st of December, putting up your decorations? How could you? I mean, why it's my fucking business what anybody else does? I do not know. This year, I'm like, fuck it. You want to keep your decorations up all year round? Crack on in this absolute shit show of a year. You do what you need to do. But no, my family are very pro Christmas decorations. Well, Beth's pitch to me was, well, as soon as Halloween finishes, you might as well put your Christmas decorations up. I'm trying to hold out for a little bit longer, although I have bought the pinkest, tackiest, sparkliest tinsel ever to grace a Christmas tree. We have to have separate Christmas trees, myself and Mr. I Know I Need to Stop Talking, because he has very tasteful Christmas decor. It's all coordinated and it all looks lovely. My Christmas tree looks like Christmas has thrown up all over it. It's a genuine delight, is my personal opinion. And we were reminiscing, he and I, earlier today, on the most magical moment of Christmas of all, which was years ago in our old house. And we had a Christmas tree, and at that time our living room basically there was a door between the kitchen and the living room, and Mr. I Know I Need to Stop Talking was in the kitchen, and I think one of our cats at the time had managed to get one of the baubles off the Christmas tree, and he'd found it in the kitchen. So he stood in the kitchen, which was, I don't know, he was probably at least 5 metres away from that Christmas tree, I would say, at least. And he got the bauble and he just casually threw it towards the Christmas tree. And as though in slow motion, it whirled through the air, its little cotton stringy hangy bit, that was technical, wasn't it? Whatever that's called, a little hanging loop thing unfurling behind it. And it fell with the little loop open, and it looped itself neatly onto a fucking branch of the Christmas tree. And I swear to God, it was the most magical thing I've ever seen at Christmas. And I bloody wish I'd filmed it, because you can tell however many people you want to about that, and nobody ever believes you. But honestly, it happened. It was real. It was incredible. Oh, I literally, did you hear that beep there? I genuinely thought I had turned off all possible kitchen devices this week to actually record this podcast in peace and in quiet. No, a kitchen device that I didn't even know could beep at me has just beeped. Fuck knows what it is. That's going to be the rest of my afternoon. Fucking kitchen devices. But of course, we will have the challenge with our Christmas trees this year, as we did last year as well, in that we have 2 lunatic cats who seem to think it is their God-given right to climb a Christmas tree and vault it and take every single Christmas decoration off it and desecrate it, basically. So trying to persuade them to stay away from the Christmas trees will be challenging at best, not least based on their recent killing. Honestly, it's like living with serial killers. It's literally like every week is like another version of that film Seven, where the one with the head in the box. Frankly, I would settle for a head in the box. It would be less gruesome than some of the things we've had this week. I think this week's, well, there's been several highlights in terms of the cat murders of this week. It was early in the week because we cleared out the room to make space for the table, and that particular room has a white floor. This is relevant for the imagery that the cats were about to bring us. And I walked downstairs and Beth just gave me a look and said, "You should see what's in the conservatory." Walked in, and honestly, it was like something from some kind of fucked up horror film. There's this rat, large rat, not quite the size of the rat that was the size of the forearm, but it's a large bloody rat, like a sweep of blood that's kind of been almost carefully precision drawn on the floor. It was like, you know, when you go to posh restaurants and you get that kind of that jus that they put down the side of your plate in like a little kind of sort of semicircle. That's what we had. We had a jus of rat blood, a rat, and then a very, very carefully, intricately nibbled off head. It was fucking grotesque. And I called Jamie down partly to see it, and in theory the cats are his job, and I did think this is probably a bit much, so I've sort of said to him, "Look, do you want some help?" He went, no, the cats are my job, I'll do it. He's a very good boy. And so I went to sit down in the living room, and Jamie's great, he's very expressive, so from the other room I could just hear this kind of like diatribe of, oh, what's this? What have you done? And then you'd hear him clearing up for a little bit, and then he'd be like, as he kind of like re-associate himself with this horrendous scene. And I was like, "Jamie, do you want a hand?" He's like, no, I'm doing it. What have you done, idiots? It was great crack. It was very funny, but he did a great job. And then bless him, 2 nights later, the kids were upstairs, and Beth casually walked down the stairs and she was laughing. She went, "Ha ha," and I was like, "What's up?" She's like, "There's a live mouse in Jamie's room." And I was like, "Oh no, come on, you're on a wind up." She's like, "No, ASAP has brought in." So ASAP, one of our dick cats, has found a little tiny mouse, brought it in to be a dick with it, because cats are dicks fundamentally, and then just got bored, just dropped it. And so it's run off into Jamie's room. I'm like, okay, good, excellent. I'm like, fucking hell. I was like, right, come on then, Jamie, I'll go and look for it. And Jamie's very good with dead rodents. He's less keen on the live ones. So I said, no, it's all right, I'll come in and look for it. Well, trying to find a very small mouse in a tidy room is a task and a half. Trying to find a live mouse in Jamie's room, which is like some kind of, I don't even know what has exploded in there. I must have caught, in inverted commas, that live mouse about 15 times. And I've got it. Oh no, it's Lego Darth Vader. I've got it. Oh no, that's like, I don't even know what that is. It's like I think it was once a food stuff, maybe. So yeah, many hours of entertainment. Honestly, people say lockdown, I've got nothing to do. I feel like my cats, it's like built-in entertainment in our house. Nothing to do this evening. Hey, why not catch a live mouse running around a bedroom for your extraordinary entertainment pleasure? Little shits. So yeah, that was good. Still, my favourite cat-related moment recently was, I don't think I've shared this on here. They caught a frog because they're dicks. And I took a photo of it just because it was quite remarkable. They'd left it dead in the hallway. Took a photo of it. And the kids came back from school and I said, "God, look what the cat's caught today." And Beth looked at it and she was like, "Oh yeah, it's a frog." Went off to do it. I said, "Jamie, look what the cats have brought." And he looked at it. He looked at it a little bit like it was a magic eye picture. Like he was trying to bring it into focus. He's like, What is it?" And I said, "Well, what do you think it is?" And he looked at it and he kept on looking at it. And then he goes to me, "Is it an octopus?" I said an octopus. Where the fuck do you think they've got an octopus from? He went, oh, I don't know. In the pond? Oh, Jamie, God love you. You little superstar, you really are. Octopus. Fuck's sake. So I am off to spend my evening, well, first of all, shouting at household appliances. Fuck's sake. I think it was the printer. I didn't even know the printer made noises. Apparently it does. God. I am off to work out which appliances were making that noise. And then I am off to spend my evening doing a little bit of online Christmas shopping, supporting small businesses. And I did a post on the blog this morning. I think the pandemic's been an absolute fucker for most of us, but for those whose livelihoods depend on a regular income from a small business, my heart absolutely goes out to them. And I have definitely made a resolution to try and do much, much more of my shopping, as with my desk, by supporting small businesses. So I popped a post up on Facebook this morning asking people to share links to their businesses, and completely overwhelmed by the response. So I'm going to spend some time having a little look through and hopefully doing a little bit of Christmas shopping, which is like the most organised I've ever been. It's really disturbing. Fuck's sake, 2020. You've taken everything I thought I knew about myself and turned it upside down. It's very, very discomforting indeed. Stay safe, my loves. Look after yourselves. It is a strange, strange year. It continues to be so. But there is bright pink sparkly tinsel on the horizon, and fuck knows what my cats will bring me next week. We will find out more in next week's podcast. Look after yourselves. I will speak with you all soon. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.